Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm going to be going over my sharpening techniques for draw knives and other similar tools. I'm going to be using the LH Arctic Fox Sharpening Puck, which is on my website. It's a dual grit ceramic sharpening stone. So let's go ahead and get started. I have with me here today 3 different draw knives. They're all the same size relatively, but slightly different in the actual geometry. So let's go ahead and get started with sharpening on the draw knife here. This is a dual grit puck. There is a 240 grit coarse side and a 400 grit fine side. So on a draw knife that isn't really dull, it just needs to be touched up a little bit, we don't need to start with the coarse side. What I like to do is have the back of the draw knife dead flat. So I'm going to take the high grit 400 grit side of the puck and just make flat circular motions. This doesn't take much since we're re-sharpening frequently. I don't let the draw knife get too dull in between sharpenings because it just makes everything a bit more difficult. And I use water on this stone. Never use oil or anything like that, and also don't use it dry. Water is just the best thing for it. So after making the flat motions on the back side with the fine grit, we're going to switch to the main cutting bevel, and we're going to go to the coarse side, and we're going to go on the widest section of this edge here. Now this edge is not flat, it's convex. So if we go on to this convex edge on the top here with the coarse grit, we're not actually going to be touching the very edge of the draw knife with the coarse stone. Go flat on here, circular motions. It makes a different noise with this coarse grit. It's really important that you sharpen the entire bevel of the draw knife, even though this part of the blade is not the part that's cutting the wood. It's, when it comes to cutting tools, it's more important what is behind the cutting edge than the actual cutting edge. The geometry of the blade is what makes the tool cut. So if I were to not sharpen this upper section right here, that's not even the actual cutting edge, then over time, if I only sharpened the very end here, it would start getting more narrow and it wouldn't cut as well. It wouldn't have the same angle that it came on like new. So by using that coarse stone and going over this main bevel here, throughout the life of the tool you maintain the same edge. That's super important. That was the main thing that I wanted to touch on in this video. So after you do that with the coarse stone, you flip over to the fine side, and you're going to go now at an angle instead of flat, and you're going to go at about a 30-degree angle to the cutting edge. Again, just circular motions. Now you're only contacting the very edge of the draw knife. This is where it's sharp. So I've already gone over the 3 different areas that need to be gone over. I'm just going to go ahead and do it again really quickly to touch up. So fine side on the back, flat. Flip over to the convex cutting edge. Use the coarse stone, flat, on the upper side of the bevel. Just a little bit. And then use the finer side at a 30-ish degree angle on the edge of the convex edge. And that's it. After this is done, you just need to remove the burr on the edge, which can be done with a strop or a buffer. Sharpening is the same for any type of the 3 draw knives that I showed at the beginning of this video. It's really simple, flat, work down the meat behind the cutting edge, and then work down the actual cutting edge. The main point that I want everyone to get from this video is that the material behind the cutting edge is more important than the actual cutting edge. And this exact same thing applies for axes and all sorts of knives. Okay, so after I finish on the stone, we need to remove the burr. I'm going to use a buffer. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we'll end it there. Again, if you are interested in getting a sharpening stone, these are available on my website. Go to the in stock and then you'll see the Sharpening Puck. These are made in the United States, dual grit. They work on draw knives. They're made for axes or anything similar to that. If you found this video informational, if you learned something, if you liked it, you might consider subscribing to see more like this in the future. Of course, don't forget to like and place a comment below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.